Okay. Well, from upstate New York to Hollywood to the country of Idaho, Owen Benjamin has been on quite the journey, known as many names, including Big Bear and the Bard King of Bertaria. Owen leads an inspiring life of truth and adventure. Owen has been crushing since before the days of cancel culture. Rather than folding to the propaganda machine, he has disrupted the industry by creating his own specials, documentaries, media, and businesses, as well as a growing and massive following of loving, intelligent people. Owen Benjamin became known for never pulling punches on social media, exposing the industry for being a tool of social conditioning and shameless hypocrisy, never letting social status or money get in the way of what needed to be said and what many people quietly agreed with. Owen prioritized truth and comedy above all. Owen Benjamin doubled down on truth and refused to compromise or take the path of manipulative money and accolades. As a result, his audience grew rapidly and his live streams began pulling more views than mainstream news outlets, rolling out hours of hilarious content daily. Having this level of reach and influence without giving into the manipulations to push agendas or avoid topics made Owen a major target for deplatforming from various services involved in the attempted social conditioning of the public. You know you're crushing when you're getting taken off like D Live and Rockfin and these
Yeah.
other ones that are supposedly like not you're not supposed to have that happen. You're hitting some levels there of truth, man. Um, we are excited to have Owen on to discuss some of the viable solutions he has found to work outside the system. And we do have another guest just popped in behind me saying goodbye. Mr. Living Rock himself, Mike Wilkerson Stellium 7, if you're familiar with his channel.
Hey, Owen.
Hey,
Uh,
how are you, man?
Really fun to share the airwaves with you. I've been listening to you since you moved to Seattle. Love your stuff.
Oh, nice. Cheers.
Stitches for years, so
Awesome.
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you're familiar with his work, but Mike has been covering some really cutting edge topics around what geology actually is.
Ooh, I
And
love that. I
yeah,
guarantee
and
I listen to him. I just always listen. I don't know faces.
pop in real quick. I'm gonna get the big heart real quick. Explain
Dude,
yourself.
dude, I was just talking about what gold might be, like how it's veins of gold and how we have gold in our blood. And I don't know if there's anything to that, but it just seems biological to me.
Yeah, I've talked a lot about that on my channel about the great trees are the ones where the gold in the veins of silver and all of that is coming from. So like
Whoa.
sap petrifies to quartz in my crazy world. And there's all kinds of different newspaper articles from the turn of the century where they're harvesting petrified forests. Like we have these little petrified forests that they tell us are 200, 300 million years old, but they were harvesting them and their newspaper articles, and they were getting like assays of $15,000 of silver to the ton from these trees that they were harvesting, and gold and all of the precious metal or gemstones and all that stuff. It's all coming from the trees.
Yeah, I can totally see that. I mean, once you realize that it's all coming from dead stars, from black hole explosions, you're like, so where is it really coming from then? Because I used to be
Right.
totally in that science world. I mean, I was on a physics podcast at Caltech interviewing Nobel Prize winners, and then it all just started falling apart when I started seeing through NASA, and then everything started falling apart. Like the idea that gold is from like white dwarf dead stars that hit us with meteors. I'm like, okay, so what is it really? And the tree
It's a
thing makes
it's
a
a
lot.
living
Yeah,
That's what my
it's a
channel's
living
all about.
substance that grows in the earth organically, just like water grows in the earth and so forth. There's ancient spiritual schools, older than any others. They talk about when mankind first was on this plane, and it was before everybody got stupid, nobody was irritated or in fear, and the color of our blood was actually like a liquid golden look, and then it became red. And I know about hemoglobin and all that kind of stuff, but it was actually golden, and the red started appearing when mankind started going into fear and irritation and aggression. So interesting concept.
oh, it's fascinating stuff, man.
Yeah, check out some of the live streams that I did on the trees. It'll blow your mind because a lot of people point to the stumps, Devil's Tower and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of thing, and the plateaus, and they think that's conclusive proof, which it isn't. But there are so many data points, so many things that line up and dovetail perfectly with the idea that these titanic trees and beings once existed. It's not just myth, fairy tale, and legend. Way more than that.
Yeah, it's 6'8". I like to look to the past from my ancestors. Maybe us giants aren't totally gone.
Giants still exist. Yep. And midgets.
Remnants of the
Pygmies, dwarves.
Nephilim.
Yes.
And then Mike pulls this out last night out of his backpack.
This is for people who don't know what I've been doing on the channel with looking at, there's a pattern that reoccurs in the stones that really shouldn't be there that I've identified as potentially being petrified hearts. So this is kind of the basic shape. It's curved or faceted on the front. It tapers in on the sides. It's flattened at the top where the aorta and the vena cava would be, which are the two biggest blood vessels in the body. And then usually there's like creases or openings in at the top or slightly in the back. The heart, when it contracts, it goes into a spiral. So you can actually look at the bottom of the rocks and they twist like a propeller blade. And then the back will be either flat or slightly concave. So this is a really, this is cool because it's Music and Sky. When I was walking around, I was looking for these, and all of the rocks that are there are these fragmented bits of larger structures. This was the only one I found, and it was like on the last day at the last minute before we're about to get in the car, and I found this one. But I have hundreds and hundreds of examples of them on my channel.
We found 3 of them on the Eel River before I went down the Funnel Lake to see you guys. And if you know anatomy and you look at these things, they're mathematically precise, exactly where you'd find all the different structures. But anyway,
Totally.
let's get
And
into it, Mike.
I found 3 at your property yesterday. I was pointing them out to people. There's one, and one of them was really big. So yeah. Anyway, wonderful to share the airwaves with you and talk to you a little bit, Owen. And
You do, yeah.
keep up the great work. And
Yeah, I'll dive into your stuff more. Yeah, I love this stuff. Yeah, and there's a little bit of a truth drop in and I don't know if it's conscious or not, or this stuff just comes out. But in that movie Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't know if you noticed, but they go to a mining, they go to a mining colony and they're mining out of a dead giant skull, and it's like precious metals and stuff. And I'm like, wow, that's interesting, you know?
Truth drops everywhere. Yeah, the Back to the Future, there's a scene where he's standing with Marty, the professor, and they're in front of one of the plateaus out in Utah, or I can't remember where it is, Arizona. And he's like, you wouldn't want to go back in time, Marty, and like accidentally run into a giant tree that once existed, you know, and there's one right behind him. It's like nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And then, you know, Avatar, biggest movie ever for a long time. You know, it's all about people going to another planet and mining their unobtainium and taking down the big trees, right? So it's all, there's a lot of info there. Anyway, thank you and take care, you guys. Loved meeting you yesterday, Barre, and
good connecting with you. And
we'll see you soon. Mr. Wilkerson. He's came all the way from Spain. Pretty cool. Nice.
I love Spain.
So for those asking in the chat, it's Stellium 7. So anyways, fun times, man. Get to hang with all these characters. So Barre, take it away.
Okay. Awesome. So Owen, thanks so much for making some time for us today.